Hello and good day, everyone. Okay, so the topic that we are going to discuss this time is all about the meaning, the concepts, and approaches of human development. So later on, we will also be talking about some, issues about human development. Now, our discussion for today will be guided with the following objectives. First is we are going to define human development, and after that, we will draw some principles of human development and we will also distinguish approaches to human development. Now, this is the basic concept. No? When we talk about human development, it says here that HD or human development is the pattern of movement or change that begins at conception and continues through the life of span. So the process in which no, someone or something grows or changes or becomes more advanced. Now, we cannot actually detach the word uh, growth from development, and we will try also to differentiate how development differs from growth. Now, growth is more on quantitative. However, development is more on qualitative. Now, when we talk about quantitative, these things can be measured. And when we talk about development, these things cannot be measured but can be observed and can be described. Now, for example, of growth or quantitative, uh, we can measure the height of the person, we can also measure the age of the person, and we can also measure the intelligence of a person. However, on the other hand, when we talk about development, on the qualitative side, beauty can be described and can be observed. However, beauty cannot be measured. Personality, skills, and maturity, these are just some samples of development which things cannot be measured. Okay. Uh, Another concept of development, of human development, is that development includes growth and decline. So, development is not all the time's progress, is not all the time moving forward. So, development also entails regress. Now, this decline happens or occurs cut across all ages, cut across all levels, no? Sometimes it happened in the childhood, sometimes it happened in the adolescent stage, or sometimes it happens in the adulthood. Now, negative things that we observe considered as decline or regress. So instead of improvement, sometimes we observe loss, ruin, or damage of something. And these things are considered as decline or, yeah. Okay, so let's now move on to the major principles of human development. First principle is development is relatively orderly. Now, development takes gradually. So a person can learn first a sound recognition before he or she can recognize a letter, no? And it will continue to words before he or she can read a sentence. And before he can read or create a paragraph, he will first undergo learning a sentence. Okay? So, still in the principle of relatively and orderly, when the muscular control when the muscular control of the trunk and the arms comes earlier as compared to the hands and figures, this type of development is considered as proximodistal pattern. No? So when we talk about proximodistal pattern, the classic example of this is a child learns to move the shoulder before a child learns to control fine finger movement. Okay. Another example is a child will learn first to crawl, to stand, and to walk until a toddler learns to finally run. Okay? So that is the proximal style pattern. Another pattern is during infancy, the greatest growth always occurs at the top, meaning the head, with physical growth in size, growth in weight, and future differentiation gradually working its way down from top to bottom. Now, this kind of development is called a cephalocaudal pattern. So it describes the general growth pattern of organism to develop areas near the main neural area, or typically the head, so earlier than areas of the body that are actually move distant. Okay? So another principle is, while the pattern of development is likely to be similar, the outcomes of developmental processes and the rate of development are likely to vary among individuals. Now, development happens and true to everybody, but the results sometimes vary and differ. So meaning development or result, no? So for example is, we cannot expect all 1-year-old children are capable of walking, no? We cannot also expect that all grade 1 pupils can capable of reading fastly, no? So there are like individuals, there are learners who can read fast, but there are also learners who can read slow in grade 1, no? There are also children at 1 year old who can walk, but there are like 9 months, no? Children who can now start to walk. So, yun ang sinasabi natin that individual or development are likely to vary among individuals. Okay. Now, individuals will encounter factors that make them different from other individuals. So, as a result, we can expect individual differences in developmental characteristics and variation in the ages when people will experience events that will influence their development. So there are many factors, no, that make an individual develop. So as a result, we can expect individual differences in developmental characteristics. Another factor here that actually contributes in the development of every human being or every human person or every individual is the experience, no? The experiences of this individual with other people. So I would like you to read this poem, no? And later on we will try to see the meaning or the what they call this, the yeah, the meaning of this poem to our discussion in relation to human development. Now, I am very attached to this poem, particularly when we are teaching children. No, according to this poem, children learn what they live. If children live with criticism, they learn to condemn. No, so if children are always cold and see their faults, and we cannot see anymore the goodness, they actually learn to completely disapprove and attack other people. They learn to condemn. Now, if the children live with hostility, they learn also to fight. So if children are always experiencing with fight, they always experience being hit, and then being hurt, they learn to fight back and always, no, in a battle or quarrel. So if children live with fear, with threat, with fright, no, they tend to be anxious and most likely to experience anxiety. If children live with pity, they learn to feel sorry for themselves, no? If children live and we don't allow them to do on their own, they have the tendency to become complacent and lack of self-confidence. If children live with ridicule, meaning uh, if children are always being bullied, always mocked, no, they learn to feel sorry. I mean, they learn to feel shy and they tend to be reserved. If children live with jealousy, no, if children are always compared to someone, to somebody, they learn to feel envy and they develop grudges and resentment. If children live with shame, or if children are always humiliated and mortified, they learn to feel guilty. They learn, no, to feel, they always feel that they are always wrong. And they develop and they become with full of inhibitions. Now, on the positive side, if children uh, if children live with encouragement, they learn confidence. If children live with tolerance, they learn patience. No? They learn also to become more resilient and they will always be able to see possibilities. And if the children live with praise, if the children are always recognized and appreciate, and affirm, they learn appreciation. And they learn also to see the goodness and beauty of others. And if children live with acceptance, if children live with acceptance regardless of their limitations, regardless of their weaknesses, they learn to love and to become contented person. So if children live with approval, with permission, they learn to like themselves, no? And bring out the best in them. And if children live with recognition, they learn that it is good to have a goal. Okay? If children live with sharing, they learn to become more generous. And if children live with fairness, they learn justice. If children live with honesty, they learn the truth. If children live with security, they learn to have faith in themselves and in those about them. And if children live with friendliness, they learn that the world is so nice place in which to live. No? So do you see the beauty of this poem? No? And this is a very good material, no? This is a very good material that we can actually use in trying to help our children develop the kind of person that they want in the future. Okay, so that's it. Let's go to the third major principle. So this one, it says here that development takes place gradually. Now, development is not going to happen overnight. It is a process. No, it is a process. Now, children learn to read by patiently teaching them sounds, vowels, consonant before actually they can read words. And sometimes in the process, we feel disgusted. Sometimes we feel upset and then disappointed. No? So more patient that is actually expected to us. So it takes actually weeks, months, and years for a person to undergo changes that result in the display of developmental characteristics. Now, if you become a teacher, because you would like to become a teacher someday, huwag lang tayo mapagod sa pagtuturo. No? Because sometimes the changes in development, the changes in behavior, the development can be seen and then can be observed after a years. Next, um, Next principle is development as a process is complex. It is the product of biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional process. Now, always remember that development is a complex process. It is not only product by a biological, it is not only a product of cognitive, and it is not only a product of our, socialization and then interaction with people. So meaning it is intertwined, interrelated. So development as a process is complex because it is the product of these domains. Now, these biological, cognitive, and social emotional processes inextricably intertwined. When we talk about biological process, it involves changes in individuals' physical mature, the hormonal changes when reach puberty period, the cardiovascular declines as they approach adulthood. So these are just like some biological, what we call this, process. Another process, another here, important process is under the cognitive, no? When when the cognitive process occur, it involves changes individuals through intelligence, through language, and they would also move from memorizing to conceptualizing, and then from conceptualizing to analyzing. And when we talk about social-emotional process, this includes changes in individuals' relationship with the other people and changes also in emotions and personality. Okay? Now, there are two approaches of human development, traditional and lifespan development. So, if you think that Juan and Jose will show extensive change from birth to adolescence and there is no change in adult and decline in late old age, this process is being called as development, traditional development. However, in contrast, if you believe that even in adulthood, developmental change takes place as it does during childhood, now your approach is termed lifespan approach. Okay? Now, let's see the characteristics or some characteristics of lifespan approach. This is according to Paul, no? Um, 2002. Now, it says here, first is development is lifelong. It does not end in adulthood. No developmental stage dominates development. Now, for as long as we are alive, development is most likely to happen. No? Always remember that. Another characteristic of this approach is development. Development is multidimensional. Development consists of biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional dimensions. As we have discussed earlier, no, it is a multidimensional process or multidimensional in nature and intertwined. Now, these domains are connected to each other. We cannot separate them. No? Because the development of a human person becomes meaningful because of the contribution of these domains. Now, let's go to the next. Development is plastic. Development is possible throughout the lifespan. So meaning, characteristics are malleable or susceptible, no? Or changeable. So because development is influenced uh-huh, by context, no? Individuals are changing because, individuals are changing beings in a changing world. So while the world is keep on changing, the development, individuals also are changing, no? So that is what we call development is contextual. What is being asked by the environment and the person or the individual is also adjusting to what is being expected, what is being like uh, what is being asked by the environment. So yun ang sinasabi natin. When a person is changing, when a person is adjusting to what is being required, by the environment that is development uh, is contextual. Number five characteristics of the lifespan development is development involves growth, maintenance, and regulation. Now, growth, maintenance, and regulations are the three goals of human development. So the goals of every individual vary among developmental stage. Now, for example of this characteristic, 7-year-old, 75-year-old individual may not want to improve his memory and his, like, for example, golf swing, but this individual want to maintain his independence and his ability to play. And that is a concrete example of developmental involves development involves growth, maintenance, and regulation. Now let's go to principles of child development and learning. Now, the first principle here states that all the domains of development and learning, physical, social, and emotional, and even also cognitive, are important. And they are closely interrelated. Children's development and learning in one domain influence and are influenced by what takes place in other domain. So all these areas of development and learning are very significant. As what I have said earlier, the development will not become more mature and complete without the social and the emotional. No? The person cannot fully become a human person without the development of physical, kung social at saka emotional at saka cognitive lang yung naandyan. So meaning, these domains make a human person fully developed and fully matured. Another principle is principle of child development and learning. Development and learning result from a dynamic and continuous interaction of biological maturation and experience. Now, interaction with people, biological maturation, and even experience can really contribute to one's development. More importantly, if you allow person to interact with other person, and that is on the experience, I always remember the commercial of one milk product, the 3E. So it highlights that the 3E: explore, experience, and what's the other E? Explore, experience, and I cannot remember anymore the other E. So uh, the experience is, experience, explore, and experience, explore, and I cannot remember anymore the other E. However, what I would like to highlight here is the factor of experience that make a person really developed. No? Experience taught us many things for us to learn and then to become a fully mature person. Another is development and learning proceed at varying rates from child to child, as well as at an even rates across different areas of child's individual functioning. So knowing the child's capacity as individual, no, will help the teachers learn to assess what the child needs and what sort of teaching methods will benefit the child. So it is important, no? It is important to know the child capacity, the child potentials, no? So that we can also provide what makes them, no, become more functional individual. Now, another is children develop best when they have secure, consistent relationship with responsive adults and opportunities for positive relationship with peers. Now, going back to the poems we have had, children learn what they live. No, it was clearly stated there that every child learn best and become more better person and to become uh, more mature person when they have that good opportunity and then they have when they have established that good relationship with in the family and then with peers, no, so the support system coming from the family, the support system coming from the peers, and the support system coming from the school would really make these children a better citizen in the future. Next principle is principle of child development and learning is development and learning occur in and are influenced by multiple social and cultural contexts. Okay, now the way children learn, the way children behave, and the way children deal with people and then challenges are highly influenced by their uh, environment and culture. No, so meaning the culture and then the environment are actually considered as a powerful influential factor in the development of every human person. Now another is always mentally active. Now children are considered as mentally active in seeking to understand the world around them. Children also learn in a variety of ways. A wide range of teaching strategies and interactions are effective in supporting all these kinds of learning. Now, when children are provided with good education, excellent support system, I am referring to, so the quality of relationship with parents, good relationship with peers and other significant others, no? And then if children are provided with resources, they become more competent, they become more capable, and they become more competent, proficient. Okay? Now, development and learning advance when children are challenged to achieve at a level just beyond their current mastery, and also when they have many opportunities to practice newly acquired skills. Experiences indeed has something to do with development. No? Nakikita na natin na napakalaking impluensya at napakalaking tulong ng mga karanasan natin for in the area of development. No? Positive experiences may lead to positive attitude of a person and then positive development. No? Others use their negative experiences as also motivation to achieve more and accomplish their goals in life. Alright, let's go to developmental issues. Okay. Uh, Number one here is nature versus nurture. Another is continuity versus discontinuity. Next is stability versus change, and activity versus passivity, and universal versus particular. Now let's go to the nature and nurture or nature versus nurture issues. Now, um, involves no the nature and the nurture issues involves the debate about whether development is primarily influenced by nature or nurture. So when we talk about nature, this is an organism, a biological inheritance. However, when we talk about nurture, an organism, environmental experiences. No? Okay, so previous. Right. Now, whether the behavior ultimately developed by the child is due to hereditary factors or environmental factors. Now, both genetic traits and environmental circumstances are involved in the individual's development. Although the amount of influence the two is not clearly evident. So in fact, it may be stated that the individual and his or her circumstances decide how much of the behavior is influenced by heredity and how much is influenced by environmental factors. So hindi natin kailangan paglabanan. Uh, the nature and the nurture must complement each other. Okay? Now, let's go to continuity versus discontinuity issue. Now, so this issue focuses on the extent to which development involves gradual or cumulative change or distinct stages. Continuity, when we talk about continuity, development here is actually a result from a gradual process occurring over several weeks, months, and possibly years. However, discontinuity development occurs through a sequence of stages in which change is qualitatively rather than quantitatively different. So, uh, when we talk about this discontinuity development, so age-related changes induce, no, I mean include occasional large shifts so that children of different ages seem qualitative different. So that is development. No? Development is conceived of a process of the gradual accumulation of a behavior, skills, knowledge, no? Or in contrast, those who would hold to the second view would suggest that developmental change is best characterized as discontinuous in nature. Okay? All right. Let's go to stability and change. Stability versus change issue. Now, this issue involves the degree to which we become older rendition of our early experience or whether we develop into someone different from who we are, or I mean who we were at an earlier point in development. Now, another issue is, wait, now, the stability and change issue considers the extent to which early experiences, no, especially during the infancy or later experiences, are the key determinants of a person's development. Now, another issue here is, uh, wait, another issue in the stability versus change issue is that um, which is of importance to developmental psychologists is the issue of stability versus change, whether development is best characterized by stability. For example, does a behavior or a trait such as shyness stay stable in its expression over time or change? Example, so could a person's degree of shyness fluctuate across the lifespan? Now, so those are actually sample of stability and change issue. Now, let's go to active versus passive. Now, basically, children are active beings, no? Who are the prime determiners of their own abilities. And passive beings or children who are passive, whose characteristics are molded either by social influences, parents and other significant people and outside events, or by biological changes beyond their control. So the child is either passively shaped by external forces in the environment or plays an active role in their own development. So there are also times that child or children will become more active, and there are also times that they want to participate, they won't participate, or they will not do this and then do that. So that's actually normal, no? So let us evaluate the developmental issues. Now, Most lifespan developmentalists recognize that extreme positions are unwise. When we talk about extreme positions like overly active and then overly passive, something like that, overly, let's say, stability and overly nurture, something like that. So meaning a balance, no, a balance of, these issues is actually needed and then important. Now, the key to development is the interaction of nature and nurture rather than either factor alone. So this is what I have said earlier, that there should always be a balance between this negative factor and this positive factor. And there is still exists a strong debate regarding how strongly development is influenced by each other of the factors. Okay, so thank you very much. And this question, no, these questions that you are going to answer will be posted in the LMS, and it will also be supported with the deadline of the submission of your answer. So thank you and good day.